little of this and a
You
little
want
of
it to
that.
go now?
Yeah,
You
we're
want it
gonna
to go?
do it. And we'll pull it together. Oh,
Oh, you like that?
the technologies.
I'm gonna put this right down here. I'm gonna keep it
Come on.
secret. Keep it safe. Put it right down in my chest beard.
Sticking that down in the crevices of your
I am.
bosom.
So last week we teased out briefly that when I started to play this song, I was like, oh, so I've been concert band.
I've been everywhere.
You're not joking,
everywhere.
dude. You're not joking. I have been going to lots and lots of concerts.
Ben's been.
And I was at a Cake concert.
How was it?
Oh man, Cake was fantastic.
Strong offer?
Yeah. No, you're thinking of Live.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
Reluctant to Cross at the starting line. That was a great album.
Yeah.
That was a great album.
Man, there's not been a Cake album I disliked. So, but they do an intermission. So it's an evening with Cake. And I'm like, okay, I'm good with that. So they do a first set, a second set, and then an encore. And
I'm drinking even though we're not
you're
there
good.
yet. But
So in between, our theme song gets played.
what?
And I'm sitting there and it's like, ba-da-ba-da.
You're like, where's Patrick? We're rolling up, bro. That's awesome.
Ba-da. And I was like, what the what? And so I was with our buddy Herbert.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, you're not going to believe this, man. And then I realized I'd not told Herbert about our podcast.
Really?
I hadn't.
He's like, I got better things to do with my time. I got 500
this
children.
would probably be his jam.
Yeah,
And
well.
so I told him about it. So if you're out there, Herb, hey, thanks for listening, buddy.
Yes.
But I
If
was
you're
like,
not out
holy
there,
crap.
jerk.
Mr. Ghost Goes to Town is just like the Cake intermission.
Dog.
So, but not our
How about
intermission
that?
because Eddie always does the intermission.
Eddie, bring it up, brother. Brother.
When you hear the tone, it will be exactly
What time?
time to get a
Oh,
drink.
all right.
Just a little drink.
I might need a big gulp there, buddy.
And a little
Is
drink.
this one not good? You don't like it?
No, I just need lots of it.
Oh, you pre-tried it. Okay. Oh, you want more of it?
Down easy.
Before the evening ends. we'll be
So
the
good.
best of friends.
So good.
Today, guys, we are having a McGriddle. So here's what's funny. This morning, I was pretty positive we had already made this.
You did something similar.
And no. I'm pretty positive it was a lost episode. I think I made it on one of the ones that got burnt.
Lost
So
episode.
this is, now I did this morning, so you're welcome. But I actually washed the bourbon in bacon fat. So you have like bacon fat bourbon in here. Lemon juice, which I was really surprised was part of the recipe. Because I've had a McGriddle once. It was garbage. And I tasted no lemon from my memory.
I'm not a fan of them.
Maple syrup and angostura bitters. So sláinte. Here is to breakfast in a cup on a Sunday afternoon.
Breakfast in a cup and breakfast in bed. It'll wake you up and
That tastes
you'll
just-
wish you're dead.
That just tastes like a McGriddle.
Does it?
To me, it does. Yeah. No, let me rephrase that. That tastes like my memory of a McGriddle. How about that?
No, that's better than McGriddle. I'm not a fan of them.
Okay. Well, hey, I'm
So
glad
this
you're
is
a
better.
fan of this then.
This is better than that.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
gonna sing in show tune tunes. I'm gonna just dance my way through the podcast. Actually, I would love to.
I think you had jazz hands.
If
there
you-
for a minute.
Oh
no.
If you're not watching this, you need to get over to YouTube and get you some.
14 just turned us off.
Oh, well, that's okay. Do your homework, kid. If I may,
Please.
I'd like to give you the music episode. Please. We have waited long enough. We have danced around this. We have slightly waded into the music waters of all that is, and it's terrified me, and I backed out because I understand that in doing the music episode, you will have to do the heavy lifting. I will not be able to match you much because I know nobody who sings anything. So
we can. I mean, I'm here
if
for it.
you would
man.
like it,
I'm here for it.
I would love to give that to you today.
Well, that's actually pretty good because I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's all yours.
Sorry.
But if you're like, I got other things I want to get off my chest.
No, actually, because one of the things I wrote down, you and I frequently don't talk before we start these. Like, we talk, but it's just like,
No, we're
hey,
usually angry at each other and
Yeah,
just can't even stand to be in the same room.
it's like, hey man, how's it going? And then as soon as the camera goes
We like to
on,
come
we're
in
just
hot.
like, boom.
Yeah, we like to make sure we're not
Yeah.
chit-chatting and catching up before on
Well,
podcast days.
I don't know that that's intentionally. It's just more functional of like, we got to get everything set up. Let's do the test. Let's make sure we're good to
I
go.
thought you were intentional. I assumed you were intentionally dodging chit-chat because you didn't want to lose any golden nuggets for
Oh,
this
never.
podcast.
No.
I mean, we're just throwing down gold
Oh.
every episode.
Spinning
It's
it.
like,
Spinning
I mean,
it.
it's fool's
That's
gold
how
like
Rapunzel
none
does.
other.
That's why Rapunzel's in the attic. We're just spinning gold down here.
Is she?
No, that's actually the music episode is. That's a good segue because I've been to a lot of concerts recently, and so
Is Rapunzel the one that spins?
wasn't she? She was trapped in the tower to spin gold.
With her long hair?
Yeah,
Oh, maybe that is. Yeah, maybe I've lost that over time.
yeah.
What Rumpelstiltskin do?
He had elephantitis. So music episode,
Never
you say?
forget.
Music episode. Okay, I'm gonna lead in with just some recent stuff. That
Okay, come
So,
on.
I saw Cake.
Hit us up.
I saw Cake a couple weeks ago,
Yeah,
or
you
like a
too.
week and a half ago.
Excellent.
They were fantastic.
Yes.
And then 2 days later, I saw. So, this is funny. I got a buddy who likes this country band named Whitey Morgan,
Yes.
and I was like, "It's Whitey Morgan in the '78s," and I was like, "Okay." So I was like, "Well, so we got tickets. 4 of us were going. Four of us guys were going." And on Monday, that same friend is like, "Oh, can't make the concert Friday," and we're like, "What?
This is your concert,
thing.
bro."
Like we don't listen to this humans."
This isn't us.
And so,
I know. I really wish I'd have been that concert,
I know.
just because.
I know.
I'd have been like,
you would have been the perfect for it.
You're doing like I'll never miss a concert again.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you this: we left 3 songs in to Whitey Morgan because the opener was the show.
Really?
If you like Southern style rock, Leonard Skinner type stuff,
Yeah.
look up a guy named Myron Elkins.
Okay.
Elkins is the last name. His band was so tight, so together, and they had a lot of like deliberate drop, pick the beat up like 2 beats later kind of stuff, and like dueling lead guitars going back and forth. Like they were just an outstanding band. Where I was like, well, that was worth the price. And then Whitey Morgan came out, and we were just like, ugh. And apparently, my friend who wanted to go to that show, I guess, has said a lot of people on social media are taking to going like, hey, your opener shouldn't be way better than
Yeah,
you.
right.
So like, get a different opener or step it up.
Uh-huh.
And then this past weekend, I went down to Louisville for Louder Than Life.
Festival, right?
It's a 4-day festival. Yeah. The first night was the headliners were Rancid, Weezer, and Tool, and Foo Fighters.
Okay.
Friday night, which was the night I went to, was Megadeth. It was the metal show, so it was Megadeth, Limp Bizkit, Godsmack, and Tool.
Okay.
And look, if you listen to last week's episode, we talked a lot about ourselves and being better people. If you want to feel good about yourself, go see Limp Bizkit in concert.
Yeah?
Because you're going to feel real good about you. Because that guy has figured out how to put all the degenerate losers in one place and then sing to them. Because I'm not even joking. This is judging. I don't care.
That's okay. Bring it.
Because I
It's
was
a safe
like,
space. This is your center moment.
I was just like, that dude's literally singing to his wife, "It's my way or the highway," and I'm like, this is awkward. Like, it's super awkward.
I'm gonna try that tonight with Jamie.
Yeah. So, but I never. It's good luck. Good luck. I know better. There's no way I'm gonna say to my wife, "It's my way or the highway," because it will be the highway.
She's like,
quickly thereafter.
don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, son.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so no, the music episode's great because it's. I'm fresh off a lot of concerts.
Cool.
So,
Great.
Yeah.
It's all yours, my friend.
Dude, I will tell you the coolest thing I saw at Louder Than Life was by far. I don't know anything about Godsmack. My buddy that I went with, that was his night. He's like, I've seen Tool before, and Tool's great in concert. But I was like, I know nothing about Godsmack. The lead singer of Godsmack is as good, if not better, as the drummer for Godsmack.
Okay.
Who, when they started, I was like, that's one of the very best drummers I've ever seen live.
Yeah?
So then they spent about 20 minutes doing dueling drum sets. And I was like, this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen at a concert. And I was like, I would not have been here had my friend not wanted to come, but
I'm not sure I would have thought the same thing. And I'm not sure I would recognize an amazing drummer. Like, this is just where, like, I enjoy music, but, like, music doesn't, like, it doesn't fuel my soul. Like you have a different, like, there are people that have a different connection to music than I do.
Absolutely.
And sometimes that, I'm like, oh, I kind of wish I had that, but I'm like, I like it. I like singing the things. I enjoy going to certain concerts. Mm-hmm. But, like, for me to hear songs and then be like, oh man, these lyrics, like, I probably couldn't recite an entire verse of any song to you. I'd be like, oh, I watermelon.
Which is funny because you sing a lot on this podcast.
Well, I like my songs.
You know some songs for sure. So
I know parts of
I gotta
lots
call
of
you out
songs.
on that one.
Well, yeah, but I just like, and knowing who sang songs, like what album. Like, there's only a few like maybe a handful of albums. I'm like, I know that, but that's it. Like, so, like, if you were like to be at a concert and be like, hear a drummer and be like, that's amazing drumming, I'd be like, is it? Oh, yeah. All right. And then to see like dueling drummers, I'd just be like, oh, this is weird. Like, I'd be like, this is what we're doing. All right.
One man's impressed as another man. This is weird.
I'm like, okay, well, that's I don't know why we thought this was. Yeah. And it was.
That's funny.
I mean, was also my same response to the Dave Matthews Band concert, where I was like, oh, you're just gonna play some instrumental. Every song's going to be an instrumental thing for you for 13 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know what you're doing. Like,
yes, like, because Dave Matthews has never been for me, but also, like, the mainstream norm has never been for me.
Yeah.
Like, there are several times people have been like, you're like the original hipster. And I'm like, no, that started in the 60s. But yeah, like, I'm straight up a hipster because, like, yes, my reading glasses are like thick black frame glasses, and yes, I do like obscure things. And if it's the mainstream, like, it took me forever to watch Stranger Things.
The 60s were hippies.
Because I think that's where
hippies are different than hipsters.
Yes, hippies are different than hipsters.
Okay,
but the term hipster comes from going against the norm.
Does it?
Yeah,
I'll have to do my little research off podcast.
Please do. Yeah.
I'm gonna fact check you.
The first time I actually heard the term hipster was on Seinfeld, where in the 80s where Kramer refers to somebody as a hipster doofus. And I was like, I don't know what a hipster doofus is. But yeah, because I do like a lot of obscure things, and it was funny because I have a really good friend who we're neighbors, so we talk, but we don't necessarily talk a lot about ourselves, I guess. So recently he's like, hey, what's your kind of go-to music? Oh, you're good. It's too close to your microphone, so we're getting static.
Oh, okay.
No, you're good. And I was like, oh man, jazz is almost like, if I'm listening to music, I'm just listening to a whole lot of jazz. And he's like, wow, I would not have thought that about you. And I was like, it's because I wear a lot of flannel. Like, people just assume I love country music. And I'm like, nope, don't really. Like, I like the, like, Chris Stapleton kind of country music. But that Kenny Chesney pop country, get that out of my life, man. So I cannot tell you a song Taylor Swift sings. And, like, so yeah.
I'm a tad distracted, and that's why I picked up my phone, is because...
football starting?
No.
Checking your fantasy scores?
No, neither of those. I wanted to go to a lyric, and because I can't remember lyrics, I'm like, I need to pull up the song.
Okay.
I remember. So it's Lucas Nelson's song.
Oh yeah.
It's his it's the song "Want Me Around." And I love the lyric to this. I find there's all sorts of. I used this in a sermon a couple of months ago because I'm like, oh no, this is the moment where you live in what I would believe the cruciform of grace, the way of Christ-likeness in the embodied world, where he says, I don't need you for my joy. I've already found mine. I found it in the way that I breathe, and I find it the way that I keep time.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I listened to that song, I'd heard the song a few times. When I actually listened to that song, I was like, oh no, that's faith, and somebody who actually. Sorry, I'll get a little preachy. Let's mini sermon for you.
Okay with it.
Get the choir going.
Yeah.
I think when you live into Christ likeness, you get to that space where you're like, no, I want you to be in, like, the invitation of Christ is I want you to be in relationship with me.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't need to pursue you in some way of satisfying who I am. I found what I am. I know how to keep time. I know, like, I breathe, and my breathing brings me back to the core of my morality, mortality, the connection to the universe, the world, God, whatever the language is that you use that, like, that's the way of Christ. Come back to who you are as a person, that you are a spiritual being living in a physical world. And I do that by breathing. I come back into myself. It brings me back to a place of awareness of
you go back to who you are,
of who I am, and so I want you to be with me on this journey, but I'm not gonna give up who I am in that space. I hope you desire the same thing and live in that community with me. We've talked about the way of relationships of, like, and you're very good at this, and it's been enlightening for me to go back and reevaluate my relationships of, like, you're very good at being like, I'm not going to put into a relationship what they're not matching in energy.
Absolutely.
Like, that's a real clear boundary that you have in your relationship. And it was something that, like, you mentioned it kind of during COVID, and when relationships were all kind of chaotic and hectic, I was like, that was a really good thing that sat with me that I had to go back to and be like, oh man, how many of my relationships are lopsided? Where if I'm not the one reaching out or connecting, it doesn't happen.
Sure. And
I realized, it's a lot, and part of it's my role. And and I think I'm wrong in this, but I used to think in my role as a minister, like, I was the one that needed to initiate, and I think I did that for a long time, and in that did a great disservice to people where they were like, no, we're in a relationship, and you get to carry all the weight.
Nope.
And
that's
it was
not
like,
a relationship.
Right, yeah.
It's a hauling company.
And some of that was my own unhealthiness, but also just that enlightenment of, like, no, like, I've got to do better, and I've just got to come back to some ownership of my own of what my capacity is. Yeah. So, interesting. So there are lyrics that hit me that I'm like, oh no, there's something there, and like Mumford and Sons, like, I think Mumford and Sons, I could put together. And I've talked about this with a buddy of mine. I'm like, I could put together an entire sermon teaching ways of Christ through each of their albums. And Bono did this. Somebody did this with U2. They call it the U2charist.
Okay.
And they took the catalog of the U2 songs and kind of created this liturgy of lyrics and prayers that were just like, this is very, and U2 certainly leans that way, and Mumford and Sons is not opposed to that. They have some faith leanings in their background and such, but, like, there's stuff there that's got way more depth than sometimes the hymns and spiritual songs that are sung on Sunday mornings.
Sure. I mean, I think, when I was in, like, junior high school, I remember I had a teacher. It was a band director who said, like, music is its own language, and music has its own energy that we can't represent in any other way. And, like, I've always felt that way about music, because I've written music, I play music, I've always enjoyed music. I come from a musical family. Like, all of my siblings are also musically gifted, and much more so than I am, for sure. And so we always just kind of grew up with it, and it was something that was always around. But I think having those lyrics, it's poetry to sound, and so I think it's, even for somebody who doesn't remember lyrics, to have those lyrics impact you are I think like
I don't remember it, so every time it's like remembering beauty. I'm like, I love this.
Oh, that's another flower. Oh, I'll forget about it.
I don't know.
Yeah, but no, like bands who have really good lyrics are bands I'm drawn to. Which is like we talked about earlier. That's probably why I'm not a metal fan.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I get it. I get that you're sending a message, but like that volume is not what
I can't hear the message.
Yeah.
So I can't connect with the message.
Yeah, and so yeah, like I'm a huge Bruce Springsteen fan and Jackson Browne and even newer bands like Dawes and Bahamas who are they're telling you a story and there's something in there that they're communicating in a very unique way that I just love and identify with a lot, which is funny because like my two favorite songs aren't that at all, but they are my two absolute favorite songs of all time. Do you have favorite songs? Yeah.
I love 500 Miles by the Proclaimers.
Heck yeah.
And that album
Would
is
you walk 500 more?
for you. I would just to be the man.
Flatterer.
He's the man who walks
Flatterer.
along.
Yeah, maybe.
Wall that down. It's too short. That's a great album.
Yeah, no doubt.
But it was the first CD that I ever purchased.
Okay.
So I had a
That's
Discman
special.
and I had a CD, and I'm like, no, this is what I can afford. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm listening to.
Yeah.
This on repeat.
Yep. That's awesome.
Sure, yes, but it's like it's kind of that thing. Like if you were to put me on the spot, I'm like, I don't know.
Like I just did.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Lucas Nelson. That one was. I mean, that was a big one.
I love his song "Find Yourself."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's yeah.
He's got some great stuff that he's putting out there. Farm Aid was.
I'm kind of sorry. I didn't
last
know.
night, and
Yeah, I'm kinda
tickets
sorry.
they had dropped them because when they first came out, they're like, "Good luck getting tickets," and they were selling for $300. And the last week they were available for like $75, and I'm
Yeah.
like, we had a commitment that we were engaged with, and I was like, oh, Farm Aid would be awesome.
Yeah.
The lineup is amazing.
I wish I had been able to go. I had committed to going the night before to Louisville, and so. But kind of a funny like Saint moment, I think, is going back a few minutes. You talking about Dave Matthews and how they go for like 15-minute jam
Right.
band, and you're like, I don't get it. I don't get it either. But here's one thing I do love is I've seen Tool a couple times now, and I liked Tool in high school and stuff,
Okay.
and they're different. Like they're good. I think they're very, very good, but they're different.
I'm not sure I'm familiar with them.
Okay.
I probably would have to hear them before I was like, oh.
Yeah, you would probably recognize some
Yeah.
of their stuff for sure. The thing I love about them is their lead singer is the antithesis of lead singers.
Okay.
Like, the lead singer in every band is like, I'm the energy. I'm the one in charge. I'm the one you came to see. Maynard, literally, it's hard to ever see him because he will literally go behind the drum set and just stand in the shadows.
Really?
Because he's like, they are the show. They are the
Yeah.
musicians because he doesn't play an instrument. He just sings.
Okay.
And his voice is strong. It's
Right.
awesome. It's big. And he's a tiny guy. But he's like, you came to see those three do their thing because they are.
That's what makes us.
Yep. They are the apex of good metal music. And they're
Sure.
not even metal. They're just hard rock. And so like the funny thing is like they will be doing their thing and you will hear him singing and you don't see where he is. And like when I saw him at Banker's Life or whatever, where the Pacers play now is, he literally was just like, there was a huge box and he was just kind of like on it or standing behind it. But so like if you could see him, but there was no spotlight on him.
Right.
There was no lights on him at all. He's just standing in the shadows singing.
Here's what I love about music, some music, I guess, and I would say this is the case with actually anything. Is I love live music because you get to see, and I get it. There can be a certain level of performance that comes into that. But I also I can tell the difference between a performance and talent.
Sure.
And I love to watch talented musicians just do their thing, and I would carry that over into. I love hearing anyone articulate their career or calling of passion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, I have a friend in Ohio who was a garbage collector.
Okay.
But he believed with every fiber of his being that was his calling.
Okay.
And like he intentionally, like, he knew the people on his route. Do you know your trash man?
I know.
I don't know my trash man.
Yeah.
But he knew his people as if they were able to be known. And he had certain customers on his route, particularly elderly folks, where he was like, don't worry about dragging your trash can out. Like, he'd met them or something while doing the route. They were getting it out late. Like, oh, shoot, I hear the truck. Like, I got to get to the curb.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, don't worry about it. I'll get it out to the curb. I'll get it emptied. Like, don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. And he believed that. Like, he believed, like, this is just what I do. And it's a way to connect. And, like, it wasn't just, like, this throwaway job.
Yeah.
Like, there was meaning and purpose and significance to that. What's that?
It's a throwaway job. I'm a garbage man. It's a throwaway job.
But I passion. Like, give me somebody who's passionate. I don't care if it's stacking toothpicks. I mean, like, tell me this. Like, bring me into your world and tell me why this is significant for you. And I love those stories. And musicians do that, right? Musicians. Certainly, there's some that are motivated by fame and success and whatever may come with that. But you can quickly tell the difference between those who are musicians as entertainers and those who are musicians who carry talent, which is part of, I think, the genre, the type of artist that you like, are those who carry musician as talent and are like, this is just what I'm offering. Like, this is what I got, and I'm going to pour my heart and soul into it, and I hope in doing that.
And you nailed it, because like there's this guy I've seen a couple times. His name's Buffalo Nichols. He's super small time. He's a dude out of Milwaukee who he's a one-man band, but like crazy talented, like just really good. A lot of like heavy bluesy guitar stuff. But every time Buffalo Nichols is around, I go see him because he's good. Like same with Bahamas. I'm seeing them again in a couple weeks, and I'm like. Yeah, no, and the very first time I saw him, he was like,
what's the name?
Bahamas.
No, the other one.
Oh, the other guy's Buffalo Nichols.
Buffalo Nichols.
Yeah, but Nichols, like his last name's Nichols. But the first time I ever saw Bahamas, he was just like, all right, so here's the thing, like, we could leave, you could chant our name, we could come back on and play a couple more songs. Let's just act like that all happened.
Yeah.
And we're going to play 4 more songs, and then it's going to be over.
And then that's it.
And then we're going to leave, and we're not going to come back. You should go home too.
Yeah.
And so, like, I just appreciate also an entertainer that can interact with the crowd like that. Like, never would have gone to this concert had it not been the circumstance, but I saw Trisha Yearwood, the country singer, at the Palladium probably 10 years ago. And she was basically like, I loved Linda Ronstadt growing up. She's like
long hair. I called her horsehair lady.
Yeah, and she's like, I would get home from school and I'd run to the back bedroom and I would put on the record player and I would sing her aloud. My parents would tell me to quiet down, and she's like, and then I met Linda Ronstadt and I was just like, hi, I'm a big and like when superstars tell their stories, like I love when I've heard Bruce tell his story about like jumping the gate at Graceland and getting arrested running across to go see Elvis.
Sure.
Like watching them put themselves into a fan perspective is so cool for me, because I'm like, yeah, you're just a fan of somebody else too, right?
Yeah.
And like I recently saw a photograph of Paul McCartney and David Gilmour. So one from the Beatles, one from Pink Floyd at a Led Zeppelin concert. And it's just like, they are super bands of the 70s, right? And in the 70s, they're like, we gotta go see Led Zeppelin, man.
Yeah.
Like, I just think there's something about that cross-pollination of music and admiration that's so cool.
Yeah. Respect.
And you like Lumineers, right?
Yeah.
I remember listening to an interview with the drummer, Jeremiah Freight from Lumineers, who now lives in Turin, Italy with his wife. She's from Italy. And so he's a season ticket holder to Juventus games. And so he's talking about, like, it was a soccer podcast. He's talking about his love of Juventus. And he's like, I love meeting soccer players because they're not musicians. Because every time a musician comes back to see us and there's ego everywhere.
Yeah, sure.
He's like, but like Wayne Rooney comes back to see us and he's just like, sign my guitar. it's like, it's a superstar who's just being a fan. And so I think that's what's cool too, is like, even my very first concert ever is I saw Oasis open for Bush at Union Station in downtown Indy in '95. And what I loved was Oasis came and watched the concert.
Yeah.
Like they got done with their set and they just like came out of the crowd and watched the concert.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I think just that, I think when you have those bands who can kind of check their ego and or at least reduce it some and like be a fan, that's really what
the concerts that I've been to where the opener, where the main band has brought the opener back out and be like, hey, we're just gonna jam with these guys because they're friends.
Yeah.
And we're on a tour together, and like here we go. Like those are always kind of like like, this is that.
The night before I graduated high school, I saw No Doubt open for Foo Fighters at Creek. And Foo Fighters did that. They, for their encore, they brought out couches and stuff. And Foo Fighters and No Doubt did Oh Blah Dee Blah Blah by the Beatles. And I was like, this is weird. And this is super cool. Like, and that still just like sticks out in my memory.
That's
or if
awesome.
you go to a festival and so like somebody comes and does like a couple songs with somebody else and then, and they played earlier in the day or whatever. And so, boy, you shouldn't have got me going, man. I can nerd out about that.
No, keep going. Keep rolling.
I don't even know where we are.
We're good. We're 30 minutes in.
Okay.
So, go further. I mean, do you have a lyric? Do you have a lyric that you're just like, you probably have a ton of them.
Yeah.
But like, what's Cincy Saints moment lyric? Like,
oh man, so
this will be fun. This will be fun. Like, what's the dark lyric? Like,
I'll give you. So, I mean, we always go to the centers easier, but these are kind of also redeeming. But the two center moments, like the lyrics that I like, are the two ones that came quick were "Racing in the Streets" and "Darkness on the Edge of Town" by Springsteen.
Okay.
Both by Springsteen. If you've not listened to "Darkness on the Edge of Town" in a while, just go back and listen to it. Like, it's, oh man, you talk about somebody just trying to work their way through bad choice after bad choice. Like that's, Racing in the Streets is really, it's one of those that's, I love it because it's just brokenness, right? And I don't know, I probably just identify with that, I guess.
Okay.
But it's like, but now there's
I think
wrinkles
most people
around
do.
Yeah,
I think most people do.
yeah. So there's wrinkles around my baby's eyes, and she cries herself to sleep at night. She, when I come home, the house is dark, and she says, "Baby, did you make it all right?" And like just this relationship where like he's like, "I'm just gonna go work on cars and race in the street," but then it's like for the eyes of one who hates for just being born. So his wife's just at home waiting on him, and like she just hates her life for it, and if you can find the solo piano version of that, ooh, it's even better. Yeah, it's even better.
All right. You got homework, folks.
But yeah, you do. Oh, I can give you all kinds of homework. So not lyric wise, but I'll give you my very favorite song of all the songs is a song called "A Taste of Honey" by Paul Desmond. So here's what I'm going to tell you to do. It's nice outside right now in Indiana. If you're that Australian guy,
you're on the East Coast. Sorry, sucks up.
Yeah, and if you're that guy in Australia, I'm sorry because it's wintertime down there. But and also didn't we have a South Africa one? It's wintertime down there.
Yeah, it's there too. Yeah.
So, but if you can get like a glass of lemonade or just something like that, sit outside and put on the song "A Taste of Honey." It is fantastic. It's mine.
All right.
That's my favorite.
All right.
And there's no words. It's instrumental.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a jazz song.
Taste of Honey.
I might play it for our outro if we can deviate.
No, because then you'll get us canceled. Because that's probably.
Oh, that probably has all kinds of.
It'd probably be copyright.
He's been dead for a long time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll go with my Saint moment with the Lucas Nelson song.
Okay.
My center lyric is I'll go to Cake, right? Just because you brought to mind of like going the distance of like just being consumed by needing to whatever chase that carrot, whatever the carrot is, right? I'm chasing it at all. Like I'm gonna chase this. I'm gonna run it down. Everybody's left. Nobody else is. It's over, man, and everybody's gone, and you're still racing for something.
Yeah.
So like, stop. Like you're out of control. You're creating this competition and this drive for something that nobody else is tuned into, and you're burning yourself out.
The sun has gone down.
Yeah. Somebody left with a cup, and yet here you are, like that, that, like I'm just like, man, where are those moments in my life?
Yeah.
Where am I trying to create a competition or a race or to succeed where nobody cares except me?
Yep. Yeah. She's all alone.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean the saying there's so many good like uplifting songs, you know.
Oh sure.
And,
oh man, I mean, Greatest Showman. I know you don't watch movies, but like that movie, like that whole like is everything of like. And go watch that. Go watch the YouTube video of the cast singing that.
Yeah.
Like it is a spiritual moment of like, I know I'm not accepted. I know you don't see me as I am, but I have value and I'm a person and like I am this thing and like you're like, all right, come on, like bring it, preach.
I'm gonna have to watch it, or at least listen to it.
It's go watch that YouTube video.
Okay.
I mean, Hugh Jackman's fascinating in the musical anyway. I mean, talent out his wazoo kind of a thing. But go watch The Greatest Showman. Big song. It's a little bit of church. They recently, I just saw this video. They just are bringing back Lion King. So they suspended it on Broadway. Okay. And they just brought the cast back in. Okay. And so they did their first like reading with it and recorded it post COVID. And I assume you're familiar with Lion King, like whatever that is. Yeah. Like the woman who sings that is not the original, the incoming song. You know, as the song comes in, the woman is African, and like this is the show that has kind of given her a passion in life, or like, and they had a YouTube video of like that, and it just was this emotional, like everybody singing, and then they're like standing and singing, and like they're wiping their tears away, and they're, you know, some of them are still masked up because COVID stuff started to creep back in, and it's like it's just like, okay, come on.
Yeah, I speaking of talent like that, I just in the last week I went back and re-listened to the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Oh,
wow, woo! Man, Lauryn Hill was
powerful.
Probably still is, but holy cow! Like she just, I wish she would have stuck around in the mainstream for much longer, and just because her poetry and her just all of it.
I think she just realized it was
so good.
The system she couldn't fight, right? Like that's funny you mentioned that because last weekend we heard a song that was like, I don't know where I was, but they're like, this is Bob Marley and Lauryn Hill mashup, and I'm like, or mix up or whatever, and I was like, wait, they're not the same, they're not contemporaries. Like he was dead before she came along, right? Yeah, no, so I had to go back and like do a little bit of research, which she had taken his song and then mixed it or whatever. And
one of her kids is a Marley. She has like 6 kids.
Oh.
But one of her kids is Bob Marley's wife.
Yeah.
So
But I think it was just that of like, I'm not gonna fight the system from within. I'm just gonna step outside the system.
Yeah, it's the same way people can't make money. Like producers make money, artists don't make money.
Right.
So, I mean, unless you figure out a way to keep the whole pie. There was this guy I was friends with for a long time.
Unless you're Taylor Swift and you go back and record all your songs and reproduce them so that you're getting all of it.
Yeah, and
which is crazy. Like
what you have to do.
I'm like, well, that's yeah. In today's world, why isn't every artist doing that?
There was a guy who was really talented. He still is, I'm sure. I've lost touch with him, but he was a local artist here, and then he moved out to Oregon. And his name's Josh Garrels, if you ever want to look him up.
Oh, Ball State guy.
Yeah. And Josh was, I remember talking to him one time, and he's like, man, just record deal after record deal coming after me. And I'm like, why not? And he's like, because right now I own the whole pie.
Right.
He's like, and as soon as I start giving pieces of pie out, I'm left with one piece of pie. Yep. He's like, and then everything I've created is no longer mine. And I was like, oh, wow, that's your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for him, he was a musician, that was his business. Yeah. But I was like, ooh, that's an icky business, man.
Yeah, more than your business, it's who you are.
Yeah.
Right? This is me. I'm giving a part of me. You're gonna take it and do whatever you do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
So, but yeah, music's always mattered to me a lot more than a lot of other things, for sure.
Music's always been there. I wish I had that next level of like, I don't know, whatever. Like, you just see some people that like, they see it, feel it.
Yeah.
Like it moves in them. And I'm like, I'm not there. Like,
sure, no, and I get that because I taught myself music. We just got a guitar somewhere, I don't know. And then I was like, oh yeah, I can figure this out. So I could hear the music and then figure it out on the guitar. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it's always just been like, I mean, I don't know scales. I can't read music. I don't know the notes. I just know I can match the sound. So for me, it was always easy to just be like, yeah, I can play that song. Mm. So like in high school, it was cool because we'd have a bonfire and somebody have a guitar and I'd be like, yeah, man, I can do it. I can play Plush. Cool. Like I can play some Pearl Jam. Like it's no big deal.
You're one of those guys.
But it wasn't like I was trying to be that guy. It was just like I was born with that.
Yeah.
Know? And like I said, my siblings are all really musically gifted, and I was just like fought it for a long time because I was like, that's their identity.
That's their thing. Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be them. I want to be me. Mm-hmm. And so, but even during COVID, I remember I would do. Because, during COVID, we had, especially at the beginning, we had that weird resurfacing of a need to connect. Where we were like, oh, these people are the people that are important. And these are the people that I should actually invest in, right? And so I remember I would do a Sunday cover. So every Sunday I sent a video of just a cover song. Yeah. And like I remember at one point I was like, this is Chris Cornell doing a song by Sinead O'Connor who did a song by Prince. Yeah. And so I played the Nothing Compares to You song. And so, but yeah, so it was just one of those things where it was like, okay, then it was something for me to look forward to too and be like, sure, okay, what song am I going to do this Sunday? Mm-hmm. And they hated it. They said, please stop sending. And I didn't stop sending. I kept sending and sending and sending. So, yeah. But that's the music episode. I mean, we can
that's it, man. That's it.
I don't know where we're at.
Who do we offend?
No one.
No one. Everybody loved it. This was all music to your ears.
We offended anybody who likes Limp Bizkit and like wants to talk down to your wife. Be a better human, jerkwad.
We offended the deaf community.
That's true.
We have a huge deaf following, and.
I'm going to tell an inside joke that only you're going to get. When we were watching rugby and I'm doing it, Mom guy, I yelled at yesterday where I was like, I'm doing it, Mom, and that singing voice, and Sean loved it. That's it. That's all of you to wonder what the heck we were actually talking about.
That's all. I'm sorry you're getting.
I would have forgotten to tell him that.
What'd you learn?
I learned that you actually let music connect with you more than you lead on. Because you have been scared to talk about music. And I don't think you should have been. Because you don't connect with music like everyone, but you definitely connect with music and you don't think you do.
I just wish I could recall artists and songs and albums like I would, well, I don't know. Other people do that and I would say I'm envious of that. I actually don't want it.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, that's so cool that you can do that. I don't really want to do that though. So
it's just too much work.
I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I wish I loved something like this. So sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm just a consumer of music. And
what's wrong with that?
It's pretty one-sided.
Really?
Yeah. You don't think so?
I've not really been listening.
No, this one's like to be married to Ben. Hey,
it is.
Big D, let me know. We'll go out and get a drink.
Yeah, she doesn't drink, so just like that.
Big D, we can go out and you can watch me drink.
She watches me do that daily. She's really good at it. No, I think music is interactive because to go back to your point, I was listening. Sorry, I think I don't know, maybe it's just me. So I'm only going to speak for me. There are things that I will let be influential. And a good example is going back to that Whitey Morgan concert, where we're like, wow, he sucked. But I've listened to Myron Elkins probably 4 times since last Friday.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, I got to pull that guy up, man. I got to get more of him. He's only got 1 album, so there's a very limited I can get more of him. But like, I think it is interactive that way where like he left an impression on me, and as a result, I'm not only going to listen to his music where he'll get fractions of cents per Spotify play, but also when he comes back around, I'm going to be like tuned in to when's this dude come back, because that's $20 well spent.
Yeah, see where his career goes and what happens.
And it's like, but I'm going to support him because I like what he's doing.
Yeah.
And so, but that's not just that. That's all artists. That's local artists.
I love local
artists.
That's local artists. You get tuned into something like that. Like it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
Wait,
did you say we can't play this?
I don't think we can. I think it'll automatically show us up as a copyright issue, and then the whole episode will disappear.
Okay.
Is my guess.
Okay. Hey, we're not going to play my favorite song.
So you go find it. It's called, again, just...
called A Taste of Honey by Paul Desmond.
Okay. And we'll find a link to it and share it in the notes.
Yeah.
Because I think we can do that.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. We don't know what we're doing.
I don't. I just played this out.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a spirit over the music, but maybe...
Oh, that's right! That's right, we have a format!
May you find the music of your soul, and may it draw you back to both the best and the worst of your attributes, and may the worst attributes lead you to a place of rediscovery and rebirth, and your refining moments, may they help you to offer more of the goodness in the world that's around you. That's it. That's what I got.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Sorry. There's what happens when you start a podcast with Weekend Ben.
That's what happens when you get tired of listening to the guy you're co-hosting the podcast with. Well, I'm glad we got the music episode in. Thank you for the journey and the discussion.
Oh, no, that was part 1 of 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
we're coming back.
Tune in.
Yeah.
Tune in again. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for listening to us again, putting us in your ear holes. That was mighty Christian of you. And we will definitely see you next week, because I have to go to the store and buy vegetables now.